In our book, Alpha Literature, in every unit, there are two texts where the book asks us to compare. In Unit 1, the two texts are in Africa, page 50, page 56. The first text is called Herdsman, from a book called Facing the Lion, Growing Up Maasai on the African Savannah. And it is a memoir. And by memoir, I mean that it is a true story where the author and a writer wrote it together. In the herdsman text, the person in the story is called Joseph Lemasolai Lekuton, a very African name, and the writer who helps him write it is called Herman Viola. The second text is called The African Maasai Ditch Lion Killing as Proof of Manhood. And it is a news article written by an author called Nick Kirkpatrick. Now, in the first text, the herdsman, Joseph speaks about his childhood in the African Maasai tribe. And this story takes place where he was a young boy. As a young boy in the African Maasai tribe who were nomads, that means that they don't have a town where they stay. No, that they are nomads, which means that they move all the time from one place to another. But their main capital is cattle and cows and sheep. That's what cattle means. That's what they do for a living. They are herdsmen. That means that they take care of cows. Joseph is the youngest member of his family, and as a Maasai boy, he has a job of taking care of the cows. Joseph wasn't exactly the most polite of boys when it comes to obeying his parents and his family. They would tell him to take the cows to graze or to eat, and he would tell them, okay, I will, but in fact, he goes, meets his friends, and they don't pay much attention to the cows. Now, Joseph mentions a saying, an old saying that they have, which is the day of the thief is the 40th day. On the 41st day, you get caught. That means that if you keep doing something that is wrong for a long time, you will eventually get caught. Or your bad actions, the results of your bad actions will come back to haunt you. And that's exactly what happens in the story. He doesn't always pay attention to his herd. He takes them to graze and he goes to play with his friends as they always do. But one day he lost the herd. He lost 3 cows in the herd. And he finds that his herd is missing 3 cows. And now he is very, very afraid since cows are the main capital of his family, and that it is very important to him. So he becomes terrified that if he goes home, he will be severely punished. So what he does as a boy, he doesn't face the consequences of his action. No, he hides on top of a tree for a long time, for 3 days, and his family would look for him. Eventually, the herd went back to where his family is at the moment. Even also the 3 cows that he lost went back. But he didn't know that. He hid in that tree so that he would get a bird's eye view or a view from a high place where he could see where the cows were, and at the same time so that nobody would see him to take him to his family to be punished. But eventually when he gets tired of that, he has nothing to eat, and it have been a very rough 3 days for him. He goes back to his family and he finds out that all the cows are there, but he now knows that he has to face the consequences or the results of his actions. His father is dead and his older brother is the head of the family. and they call him father because of that position. He goes to him. He's very afraid that his brother would punish him. But eventually, he told him that now is not the good time, now is not the best time, and that they would talk later. When they meet later, his brother tells him that this cow and its three calves, a calf is a baby cow, a cow and three calves are now his. His brother gives him a gift instead of punishing him like he thought, which would give us the idea that his brother is very understanding and is very open-minded. Instead of punishing the boy, no, he would give him a responsibility. And Joseph says in the story that a gift of cows shows great respect. And in that sense, his brother shows him that he values him very much, he respects him very much, and that he's just happy that he wasn't eaten by a lion. And from this point on, Joseph's view of work and life and responsibility changes 180 degrees. He now takes care of his herd very well, because now, at the very least, some of the cows are actually his. And that would happen on Joseph's vacation from boarding school. The next story is the African Maasai ditch lion killing as proof of manhood, is also about the same tribe of the Maasai people who had a tradition, a very brutal tradition in the past, where they would go out and hunt lions as young men to prove that they are men and that they are worthy of a beautiful bride. That's what they hunted lions for. They hunted lions to woo the hearts of the young Maasai girls. And eventually, the story tells us that the population of the lions went down from 250 over 40 years to 35,000 lions. In the beginning, there were 250,000 lions, and eventually, after 40 years of hunting lions, they become 35,000, which affects the balance of the environment and is a very, very brutal tradition to begin with. So at one point of the story, when the lions were at the brink of extinction, there was a meeting from the elders of the tribes at a ranch belonged to a man called Tom Hill, where they agreed that this tradition is very, very old-fashioned and pointless, and they decided to stop it. And one man came up with the idea that don't boys compete for medals in the world through sports? And that's how the idea of the Maasai Olympics began. And now the young boys don't have to prove their manhood by killing lions. Instead, they would compete in the Maasai Olympic events, running and jumping to show that they are champions through sporting events. The Reuters journalists speak to competitors in the Maasai Olympics. One of them is called Tipape Lekatu, and Tipape Lekatu is an 18-year-old competitor. Tipape didn't compete because he wanted to get married. No, he competed to win enough money to go study abroad, to complete his university education. There was also another competitor called David Rudisha. He's a runner and an Olympic gold medalist and a world record holder. He told them that I am a patron of the Maasai Olympics to demonstrate that killing lions is no longer the way. We Maasai have a future as great runners. We must run, not kill the king of beasts, to earn our manhood and to win our brides in the future. And therefore, this shows how much the Maasai tribe changed over time from being a very close-minded and a very brutal tribe into an open-minded tribe that encouraged sports and education, which is a massive change. And that would conclude both texts. The questions are at the end of the second text since there are two texts to be compared.